all for joining today. I am the Channel Sales Manager here at 4D Technologies, and my role is to work with our partners in educating them on our solution. I do have just a short PowerPoint to just give you a little bit of background about CADLearning and the value it adds to you. It is an Autodesk-focused learning library. We are an Autodesk authorized publisher, and the content is vetted, so we do look at it as a single source of truth for your Autodesk learning. Our enterprise solution can cover the full employee life cycle from even before you hire a candidate with our pre-hire assessments through onboarding based on their assessment results, upskilling those employees in applications they may not know the full breadth of or need additional skills in, as well as new applications, and then retaining them by giving them various learning paths to pursue. The content that we provide is hyper-personalized and can be targeted just to the areas that you need to know, and I'm going to go through that during our presentation. We also have an in-application tool called CADLearning Assist that is designed to be a performance support tool so that when you need help, you can get it right away there in the application. And lastly, we have goal-based learning that aligns specifically to job competencies, and I'll show you how that works. And our integrated assessments literally allow you to take a short quiz or a lengthier assessment, identify what your individual learning gaps are, and then it provides a learning path for you specific to you to bridge your individual skills and knowledge gaps. So from a user perspective, CADLearning is designed to help you gain proficiency in a much faster method, specifically because you can target those areas where you need assistance. Our answers are vetted by the manufacturer. Autodesk audits our content on a regular basis to ensure that we are teaching you to the design intent of the tool. The content that we produce is specific to your various roles in your organization. And we provide paths to help you get up to the next level. So whether that's learning a new skill in an application or pursuing an Autodesk certification, we provide those paths. If you're a manager, our enterprise solution or through Microsol, our Tier 2 solution allows you as a manager to look at your whole organization and understand where the gaps are and then bridge them at the individual level. So understanding that all of us have different learning methods, all of us have different skills in different areas, we allow you to go ahead and look at each and every one of your users and then understand where their gaps are and give them a plan to bridge them. You can track progress and understand how people are progressing through our analytics and gain some insight there. You also have the ability in our enterprise solution to customize CADLearning to fit your specific needs, whether it's adding your own content in, modifying our content to fit your needs, or creating customized assessments for your organization. And then lastly, of course, it's designed to be an internal support tool. So it gives the ability of taking that support aspect off of maybe the BIM and CAD managers in the organization or your star users and allowing people to come in and get the answers they need when they need them. And at the end of the day, we really think it is all about proving the return on investment for your organization and maximizing your billable hours. So we use CADLearning Assist as an example here because it is that in-application tool. However, any part of CADLearning that I'm going to show you today will provide the same results. So I have a very simple example on the screen of 10 designers. They're all using Autodesk products. And what happens when somebody needs help? It's universal across every organization I speak to. Today it's done on Teams or whatever networking tool you're using internally. But what happens is someone immediately needs help. They go to somebody else at that time. In our example, it's 20% of the team. And if you think about the cost you incur when that happens, it's 20% of your team times your billable rate, times the time it takes, times your overhead. And that really adds up, and it's just money you can't really get back. And chances are, because that user has asked the question, but they don't have a resource to go back to, they're going to need to ask the question again. So we highly encourage you to try out CAD Learning and CAD Learning Assist, where you can very quickly get the answers you need. And if you need to ask the question again, it's available to you. We could go ahead and pop this down, and let's go ahead. What I'd like to do is start off as an everyday user in CAD Learning and give you that perspective and how you can find help to get the answers you need. So I am logged in to our live production site where our subscribers come. This is me right here. And when you log in, you have two options. So option one is to go to the library where all of our content is housed. And then option two is to select a goal. I'm actually going to come back to the goals. It's a little bit different of approach, and we'll start off in the library. So as a CAD Learning user, you have access to the entire CAD Learning library. I've actually set some preferences here, which any user can do. So it's easy for me to get to the tools that I want to. But you have access to our full library, which is about 40 different Autodesk applications. And when I come to the library, I simply select the product that I'm working with. So I'll just go ahead and select Revit for example purposes. And then I come in and I can select the release that I want to use. Our Revit library is a one-box library, so it includes both the Revit core content as well as architectural, structural, and MEP. So you'll be able to find anything you could possibly need to do in Revit, at least most of it, within this library. So as you can see, when I access Revit, it's telling me immediately how many lessons I've viewed, 155 out of the 1,008 that are available for Revit, the amount of time I've spent, as well as the amount of time of the entire library, which is close to 87 hours, so pretty extensive. In the library itself, content is broken down into major topics, and then within each topic are my individual video lessons. So if I want to watch a lesson, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up so you can get a good look at our lessons. If I want to watch a lesson, I simply click on it. And we'll give my home internet a second to catch up here. And the instructor is talking here. And I also have closed captioning on here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off for a moment. So you can see as the video is running, there are callouts and highlights that go along with it. You can actually slow the instructor down or speed him up. You can watch the video as many times as you like. As you can see, there's a scrolling narration. Our videos are micro-learning lessons, so each and every lesson is designed to cover a single task. They're typically about 2 to 5 minutes in length, but as you can see in this case, the video is a little bit closer to 7 minutes. That's because that's how long it takes to cover the task. So we're going to cover that full task, but they're also designed so if this is the only item you need to understand, you can go to this video, watch it, and then get back to your production work. I can click anywhere in the narration to get to the point I want to in the video. I can also go in a full screen mode. So those of you running tool monitors might want to have this running on one and you're doing your actual production work on another. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the library here and just go over a few other things. We mentioned finding targeted content. So let's say, for example, before we got on the line, I actually created a playlist called Stairs, and maybe I'm working on spiral stairs or something like that, and I want to quickly get to a video related to that. I can type in a keyword, and just like that, it goes right to that video lesson for me, and I can get right to it. Even more importantly is, let's say I just want to, as a whole, learn about stairs. I can type in a more general keyword. It brings me any lessons related to stairs, And then I can just grab those lessons and drop them right into my playlist. So playlist functionality is really great if you're trying to learn a new topic, you're trying to learn a new functionality in the software you're not familiar with. You can take lessons, drop them right into a playlist. So here is my playlist. It grabbed all of my lessons. Each and every time you build a playlist, you have the ability to share with other CAD Learning users. So particularly if you're in an organization using CAD Learning, you can share with other users. A great feature, especially if you're tasked with supporting other users, to be able to just send them a quick playlist, reinforcing a concept. Every time you build a playlist, it creates an assessment. It's a dynamic assessment that's looking at just what's in this playlist. And what's unique about CAD Learning and the way our assessments work is every time you take one, it creates for you a personal learning path. So I'm going to just go ahead and open up one of my assessments so you can get a look at how that works. This is my transcript. Don't be scared by it. I do a lot of presentations. I'm just going to go ahead and find a shorter one here. So this is my InfraWorks assessment. When I take an assessment, it tells me exactly how many questions I answered correctly. Then it takes a look at my incorrectly answered questions. And based on that question, it tells me what I answered. It's not going to give me the right answer. It's going to say, you need to go watch these lessons. So I can grab those lessons, drop them right into a playlist. In this case, it's only a couple, but it grabs those lessons. And then again, I have the ability to come in now and work from my personalized learning path and take an assessment again. I don't know why it gave me those two, but so it literally creates a whole new assessment for me. And if I'm lucky enough to answer this right, I did. Now I've achieved 100% retention. So the purpose behind the assessments, going back into my library, is to really help an individual hone down to where their personalized gaps are and then close those gaps. There's all different ways you can check your skills in CAD Learning. You can use the playlist assessments if you're going through in an A to Z format because you're just learning a new application. You can drop an entire topic into a playlist and take an assessment. We also provide out-of-the-box knowledge and skills-based assessments. These are designed to cover the full breadth of the application. So in some cases that might be a little much, especially if you're only using pieces of Revit, maybe you're focused on the architectural area or you're focused on Revit mechanical, then I suggest using the playlist to build your assessments. But what these assessments do is just like the playlist, they look at your answers, focus in on the things that you answered incorrectly, and then recommend a learning path for you that you can then drop into a playlist. So pretty powerful tool. Just want to pop in and just give you a look at a few other things. I know some of you on the line might be interested in BIM 360. There is a full library here on BIM 360. We're always updating this because Autodesk is always making adjustments and changes. We recently released PlanGrid. So if any of you are looking for PlanGrid content, we also have that available. And I'm going to go ahead now and jump back out on the home page, and let's take a look at the goal selection. So goals work a little bit differently than the library. They're designed to be competency-based, and out of the box, we provide the Autodesk Certification goals. They're aligned specifically to the Autodesk learning objectives and competencies. And then we have a few other more role-based goals in here as well as examples. So I'm going to go ahead and select Energy Analysis Specialist. And as you can see, my screen looks completely different now. So again, out of the box, we provide the certification paths and a few others. But for our enterprise customers, And our tier 2 customers, which I'll talk a little bit more when we move on to some of those capabilities, we can work with to build goal-specific training based on jobs in your organization together with Microsol specialists. So when I select a goal, as I mentioned, my screen changes a little bit. I'm going to scroll down just so you can see the whole goal and get a look at it. So it is broken down into individual badges and medallions. As a user, when I log in, the first thing I have is a pop quiz question. And if I know the answer to the pop quiz question, generally I don't, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it. It will remove that lesson from my learning path if I answer it correctly. If I answer it incorrectly, it's going to say, okay, these are the lessons that reinforce that concept. Go ahead and watch those, and maybe you'll get the question right next time. In the center of the screen, it's looking at the next 5 lessons it makes sense for me to look at based on the path that I'm working on. And then I have a progress wheel that gives me an indication of where I'm at in my goal. So I haven't completed anything yet, but I have lots in progress. The nice thing about goals is if you're working on multiple goals, maybe I'm working on the Revit, electrical or mechanical certification, anything that overlaps is going to roll up for me. So the difference here between the library and the goals is because they're competency-based, my lessons don't check off unless I answer my assessment questions correctly. So it's really designed to get users to 100% retention. So just watching the lesson isn't credit enough. So in terms of the breakout, the medallions represent major tasks or objectives that you need to achieve in a particular role. And then the badges represent those individual competencies you should have. The assessments work exactly the same in terms of if I took this assessment, it's going to build me my learning path. I can create a playlist, or I can simply come back to the badge and work from it. So pretty simple, but pretty powerful. We find that users really like seeing that, get that feeling of accomplishment as their badges fill in. And they can also work from a progress bar that just rolls things up for them, and they can work right from it. All the same information, just a little bit more organized, I guess you'd say. Different format. The last thing I want to show you from a user perspective that I think is just amazing is CADLearning Assist. And CADLearning Assist is that in-application tool. It runs inside of AutoCAD and AutoCAD flavored applications like Civil 3D, AutoCAD MEP, AutoCAD Architecture. The CADLearning Assist also runs in Revit and also runs in Inventor. So we recently released this version of CADLearning Assist. It's designed to bring in the whole user experience right in the plugin so that you don't actually even have to log into the portal. You can have this just running. You can toggle it on and off, so have it available as you need it. And it's really quite simple. So I'm in Revit 2021. I'm not a Revit user, so as you can see, I picked the most simple family I could find. And the way it works is it's looking at what I'm doing in the application, and then based on that, it's going to suggest lessons that I should look at. So as you can see, as I'm moving around, my lessons are updating. And then for the user, they need help. Oh, the lesson's right there. They can just click on it. This is designed to run dual screen. So if you want to pull the palette off onto another screen and watch your videos on a separate screen, not take up your screen space, I know that's important, you can do that. There is full search capability here. It's a global search. We bring in the full library. So when you install CADLearning Assist, which is part of the CADLearning subscription, it recognizes what version of the software you're using and will bring in the appropriate CADLearning library. There's filters here, so if I want to filter in Revit to a particular item, I can simply type it in. I'm just going to go ahead and use my stairs example here again. And you can see it brings those lessons right back to me. I have my playlists. So any playlists that I've created are also brought into the plugin. Really nice, especially if, let's say, you want to build a video representation of a specific workflow you need to use. You could drop it right in a playlist and have it available to you in the plugin. And then lastly here, I also have my goals. So it's recognizing the goals that I've selected. And if I want to go through it, it's available to me here. So again, it looks very simple, but really very powerful, especially as you're going through your day-to-day project work and you need to get a quick question answered on how to do something in the software. It's right there and available for you. So that covers the user experience. I want to switch to a different site now. This is my demonstration site to give you an overview of some of the things you can do in the higher tiers of CAD learning. So as far as those tiers, the individual access is available through Microsol. That's a standard CAD learning subscription. With CAD Learning Assist, and when they become available, our apps for Android and iOS are also included in that subscription. And then Microsol also has the ability to add you two different tiers of CAD learning. The tier 2 we refer to is a partner managed portal. That's where you, those of you on the line that are with an organization, can have all of your users in a private CAD learning portal branded for your organization, where your users would go. And in that tier, you have the ability to manage your users and get reporting and analytics. The customization features are available, but they're available as a service through Microsol. So you don't have the full keys to the car. In tier 3, which we refer to as our enterprise version, you do get the keys to the car and you can customize content and assessments and so forth. So let's go ahead and look at some of the features that are available in both ways. I'm going to start with tier 3 and the customization of content, because that's generally when I'm doing demonstrations for organizations, what they want to know about immediately as soon as they see the breadth of the library and the way it can be rearranged. So I have created a custom course here called Revit Productivity. So I'm going to go ahead and start off here with the course I've created. If I want to create a course, it's very simple. I just give it a name, I save it. If I want it to appear in the library, I make it active. And then I can build my structure out once I've done that. So I've already started building a structure here. The beauty of customization is you can use our library for the things that are specific to you and fit to you, but then you can feather in your own content that's related to you, the way you do things and your special sauce and so forth. So when you create a course, you can add your own topics. So I've actually added this topic, Revit Essentials. If you have an Azure storage instance connected to keep your intellectual property separate from ours, you can actually upload your own lessons. You can attach those lessons to Surface and CAD Learning Assist by connecting the commands. What most of my customers do is add links, because oftentimes they already have information created somewhere else, maybe on SharePoint or Box or something like that, and they're able to just link to it and people can access it that way. That does not require an Azure storage instance. So I've added a link here. I have a lesson that I've added. I think it's still publishing. And then I can also upload documents as well. If I want to add CAD learning content, just like a playlist, I go right to the library and I can go to whatever course I want to use. So maybe I want to pull from, I don't know, let's see where BIM 360 is. We might want to pull from that, or maybe some Dynamo. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull something from Dynamo. Oops. drop it into my course just like a playlist. It grabs all of those lessons and brings it right in for me. Then if I want to modify it even further or move things around, I have those lessons all available. I can delete the ones that I don't need. I can change the order around, or if I want to insert some of my own lessons, excuse me, let me just go to the right place here, or change the name, I can simply do that here. Someday I'll learn how to use my mouse. So if I want to change the topic name or I want to insert something, I do it right here. So it's really simple and easy to either build your own course from scratch or use our content plus yours, or just modify ours to fit your specific needs. Sometimes I have customers that want to break out what they define as more beginner skills versus intermediate and so forth. So it's pretty easy. You can also create your own assessments. And assessments are another powerful tool in our enterprise solution. So I'm not going to create an assessment from scratch, but just so you can get a sense of the different types of assessments we have. It's a demo site, so occasionally it throws me errors. You can create knowledge and skills-based assessments, just like we do out of the box. A pre-hire assessment is something a lot of my customers find very useful because it doesn't, require a license of CAD learning, and you can build an assessment based on the skills you're looking for in a candidate. Send them that assessment through CAD learning, so they get a link in an email that they can click on, take the assessment, you get the results on the back end. So it's really helpful in making sure a candidate has the skills you're looking for and weeding out those candidates that don't. The other benefit is you also know what's the onboarding going to look like when it's specific to an application. These assessments can be built on anything, I might add, as with custom content. You do not have to stick to Autodesk only content. You can put any assessment related to anything in the system for your organization, and your custom content can be for anything as well, whether it's safety, whether it's HR compliance, or you're using some other application internally, I don't know, like maybe SketchUp or Synchro. As far as the methods, you can have a standard assessment, which is typically the most popular. It's a fixed number of questions, but you can come in and adjust it at any time. Static assessments are like our out-of-the-box assessments where you can create the assessment, users take it, and then you might want them to go through their learning plans, come back and take it again. So it gives you that apples-to-apples comparison. And then a dynamics assessment is just how it sounds. You may select the topics and the number of questions that you'd like to be in the assessment, and each and every time a user takes it, it's reordering, adding different questions, and so forth. So it's constantly changing it for each user. So I'm going to go ahead to my assessment that I created. So I did create an assessment that goes along with my Revit productivity course. And again, just like a course, I give it a name and I save it. If I want to use CAD learning questions, then I associate it with the particular CAD learning course I want to use. So in this case, I used Revit. And then to get my questions in, super easy. I can either choose assessments. So these are any out of the box or assessments that I may have published. So that's the one I've already published here. I can add by course. And in this case, I can select the course. Gives me all of the topics. This is my favorite and I think most useful for organizations because you get every topic, and within every topic, you're getting every one of our questions. So you have access to the entire CAD Learning question database. If I want to use one of these questions, I simply click Add, and it brings the question right over for me. If I want to take a look at the answers, I can go ahead and just click on it. It'll even tell you what lesson this is associated with, so you can see that as well. Let me go ahead back to my questions. I can also copy questions. So if I take a copy of a question, the beauty of this, or I take 3 copies, if I just get a little mouse happy there, I can actually go in and modify this question since I've copied it. Maybe you use different terminology in your organization. Maybe you want to add an additional answer. Some of the customers I work with like to have an I don't know as an option so they can really weed out someone from guessing at an answer if they don't really know it. And lastly, of course, you can add your own questions. Super easy. It can be multiple choice. It can be true false. It could be fill in the blank and so forth. So a really robust assessment engine and truly useful as well. Last thing I want to touch on before I turn it over to Brenda is reporting tools. So reporting tools are available to both the Partner Manage portal and Enterprise. So if you move up to those tiers at some point, you do get access. There's a number of on-screen reports. Goals looks at anybody that's been assigned a goal in the system and so forth. They're visual reports. If I want to look at overall activity in my portal, this is a demo portal, so there's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of activity. Let me go filter it to 90 days, get you a little bit more on screen, but it goes ahead and just gives you a high level view of, you know, who's in the system, how much time they're spending, are they utilizing it, and so forth. So like I said, not a lot of data here because it is a demo site, but just to give you a sense. Same with assessments. There's a lot of on-screen reports that you can access. So if I want to go ahead and look at the assessment report cards, I can pick a particular assessment. I'm just going to pick the first one I see. And if you had multiple people going through this assessment, it would give you each person, their scores and so forth in a form that you can view on screen. But even more importantly, in terms of reporting, you can just get all of the data. So there are downloadable reports where you can grab all of the data. You can see every single question, what the answer was, what type of assessment it was, whether it was playlist, badge, from the library and so forth, all contained in a report. Same with activity. We give you all of that data in the download report.